Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. A lot has happened in the year 2022, and as we are coming to a close, I thought we can do a little bit of a recap from the immigration space and also from several different topics that I talked throughout the year. This will be my last video of 2022 until the next one on 1st of January. We have a lot of packed content in this video, such as what happened in the immigration space, what were the bills that did not get passed, what is upcoming on the horizon in terms of immigration, and also some investment opportunities that we talked about in my couple of videos. And finally, I'm also going to announce the winner for my giveaway that I had promised to do in December. So stick around until the end because you don't want to miss any of these topics, and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now I'm hoping that everybody has a chance to take a little bit of a break before we start the new year. This is the year end and this is the time to enjoy some time with your family. I'm certainly doing so, and that's the reason I did not make a lot of videos in the last 10 or 15 days. Now in the meantime, there are a lot of layoffs going on since November, December, and there will continue to be some layoffs in January. So there are a couple of pointers that I have given in my last couple of videos, but if you want to get in touch with me regarding your situation, do contact me on my Patreon site. You can also schedule a call with me on my limited time over the weekend, and you can find that link in my description. But before talking to me, Patreon might be a better choice. Also feel free to connect me on my Instagram and Twitter accounts. Now what happened in the immigration space in this year? Now in the first part of the year, first 3 quarters of the year, there was a lot of rush to use up all those EB2 and EB3 visa numbers, EB visa numbers. There were 280,000 visa numbers available for 2022, and USCIS did a phenomenal job, at least in my opinion, to use up all those numbers well ahead of schedule. In fact, they ran out of all the visa numbers in the first week of September. Now that was a very good thing because they did not process these many number of visas for EB category in one single year ever. That is something to rejoice about. So as much as somebody would think that they are just doing their job, considering where the backlog was, it certainly helped a little bit to alleviate that backlog. Along with that, some other positive things were that they relaxed a couple of rules regarding I-693 medical submissions. They relaxed some rules. They also relaxed some rules with the EAD validity, its continuity and its validity, and it also relaxed. They actually did some interview waivers if you had a visa in the past in the same category. So those are some highlights that were positive. But not all of it was a good news. Although they used up all the spillover numbers from FB category to EB category in the year 2022, we saw in 2023 in October through December, the news was not so good. Although they have some spillovers from FB category into EB category for FY23, the backlog is still such a huge number that those spillover numbers just disappeared. And now we are sitting at a retrogressed EB1, EB2 and EB3 category, which is not such a good ending to the year 2022. So we have seen for the first time in several years, EB1 has retrogressed again. It has gone back to February of 2022 in the final action chart. EB2 and EB3 have retrogressed as far back as 2012. So what does that tell us? That there is still incredible amount of demand for EB category compared to the visa numbers available. There is no pandemic going on, there are no travel bans, no restrictions. So all those consulates processings are going on in full swing. I haven't heard that there is a slowdown in consulate processing for these immigrant visas for FB category. So really FB has picked up a lot. Family based immigration has picked up a lot. So don't expect any spillover or maybe minimal spillover from a family based category to employment based category in the next year, in year 2023. What else happened in 2022? There were a couple of carrots thrown at us in terms of bills. Most prominent one was the Eagle Act, brought up by Zolofstein. That had come up several times in the year, and in the year end it came back again, but never made it to the House floor for voting. Unfortunately, there was not enough push for that bill and not enough support in the Congress to get it passed to the President's desk. So that is yet another year where we are seeing yet another bill such as this Eagle Act getting killed before the new Congress takes over. Remember S386 and other bills which were along the same lines to remove the per country cap. Those were all killed year after year. Now, if there is some consolation, there is a new bill or proposal drafted by Representative Maria Salazar, but that has a laundry list of all the things that we would wish that immigration would consider. But again, it's a divided Congress, so any immigration bill to make any significant comeback is very unlikely. A lot of people kept asking me why don't I tell about contacting the senators and congressmen through emails and phone calls, and there was a reason for it. I did not do it on my videos. I did not ask anybody to reach out to them because I don't think that is a meaningful effort. It is good in terms of raising an awareness, but it is not enough for a bill to be brought to the House floor to vote. It certainly raises some awareness among the ranks of the lawmakers, but it is not enough to bring it into a proposal in the form of a proposal, or even to bring it to the floor for voting. Very consolidated and very targeted lobbying and advocacy is needed for anything to get to the floor to vote, especially in a divided Congress. So that was the reason I never proposed reaching out to senators and congressmen. That doesn't mean you should stop working. I just wanted to put the reality on the ground. Now, there are a lot of layoffs going on since September, October. A lot of big companies, big tech companies have done layoffs in tens of thousands. So there are a lot of people who are looking for a job, especially in the Bay Area and those Silicon Valley hotspots. And this is a big impact to people who are on non-immigrant visa. Now, USCIS has created this dedicated page where it goes through different sections of what are the things that you need to watch out for if you lose a job while you are on a non-immigrant visa. So first thing is there is a 60 days grace period. Now there are a lot of questions about the 60 days grace period. When did this start? The rule of thumb is it starts the next day to the last day of your payroll. So think about it, when was the last day of your payroll on a company's payroll? And that would be your day 0. The next day would be the day 1. So that's where you count your 60 days from. As long as you have applied for your transfer of H1B within 60 days, you are fine. You don't need to have an approved petition of H1B transfer. As long as you have applied for a transfer, whether it's a regular transfer or a premium processing, and I highly recommend premium processing in this transfer application. That's in a nutshell about the 60 days grace period. Now, this site also talks about portability to the new employer. If you are in a certain process in your green card, then you have a choice to port your green card process, specifically I-485, to your new employer. Basically, if you have completed 180 days on pending I-485, then you have an option to change your employer without having to go through your H1B transfer process. If you are unable to get your H1B transfer, if you are unable to find a new employer within the 60 days grace period, then there are a couple of other options that may work for you. Change of status to another visa category or another non-immigrant visa category. So if your spouse is on H1 and if their job is intact, you may choose to go on H4 in that case. You may also see if you are eligible for a TN visa if you're a Canadian citizen, or a E3 visa if you're an Australian citizen, and so on. There are so many other visas that you might look for. Even if you want to go back to college or university, you can apply for a F1 visa as well. So there are the change of status is another category. Then they talk about change of status and employer, adjustment of status, period of authorized stay. In this period of authorized stay, you can also ask for compelling circumstances EAD. This is not a new thing, but this has come to picture. A lot of lawyers are supporting this. They may apply on your behalf if you have only one person working in your entire family that is supporting a family, and if your job is lost. If you lose your job, in that case, that may be a compelling circumstance for you to get a work authorization to keep working. Again, EAD does not provide you a status. EAD provides you a work authorization. So that is something that you want to be careful about. You may also, whenever you are putting your change of status application or extension or transfer, they may also allow you to put an expedited application, which is premium processing. And the last option is departing from the United States. One thing I always recommend is don't remain in the country past 60 days, because that will accumulate unlawful presence for you in the country. I will never recommend you to accumulate any days of unlawful presence in the United States, because in short term it may work for you. You may find a job in, say, after 90 days or so, and you think everything is cool, but that is not the case. It may come back to haunt you in the future in your immigration process. So don't accumulate any unlawful presence. If you cannot find any option for you to stay in the United States within the 60 days, you should leave the country and look to come back after you settle all your visas and your job situation. Alternatively, you might also want to check out the Canada option. Now, a couple of weeks back, I made a dedicated video with a Canadian immigration lawyer and CEO of Syndesis, who went through the detailed process of transferring from United States to Canada. So do check out that video, and if you have any questions regarding that, do reach out to me on my Patreon site. Also, just some additional information, just to put things in perspective, Canada approved 4.8 million. IRCC has processed an all-time high of 4.8 million applications in 2022, which is incredibly high number of applications that they have processed. What I mean by that is Canada is a great option if you are in a perilous situation in this H-1B layoff situation in the United States. You might want to explore if Canada is an option for you, and in my opinion, it is a good option. And as always, we had this push at the end of the year in this lame duck session of the Congress, where they tried to include immigration clauses by themselves, such as Eagle Act, and which never came to the floor, but they tried to include it into the Omnibus Bill and NDAA bill, but those were taken out, unfortunately. So that's what happens when your lawmakers wait until the last moment or the 11th hour to bring these immigration proposals to the Congress. They don't go anywhere. So it's better for these proposals to come throughout the year, throughout the working year, and not wait until the lame duck session. Another thing that I wanted to mention is if you are on a visa, US consulates has extended interview waivers for international students, temporary workers in the sense H1 and L1. So if you had a visa in the past, if you are applying for an extension in the same visa category, then they are waiving the interviews for you. Now, that doesn't mean that your wait time for your Dropbox appointment goes away. It's just that the interview may not happen. You will still need to go to the Dropbox, take an appointment, submit the documentation, and go through that processing time. Unfortunately, that's what it is. But at least they are making an effort to make it easier for the non-immigrant visa holders to extend their visas at the consulates. And finally, I would also like to mention that I made a couple of videos on investments and stocks and cryptos. Do check them out because they are still relevant. Now, towards the end of the year, the stock market has gone down a lot. Now, they say that until the inflation is brought to a manageable level up to 2% or 3%, these markets are going to see a lot of crash, and there is going to be a lot of correction. So in this situation, you want to be cautious about which stocks to buy, which bonds to buy, which index funds to buy. I'll cover some more in my next video about this particular topic. But you might also want to check out some non-traditional assets such as gold, silver, or even art. Now, back in November, I shared some investment strategies to protect your savings. And while stocks and index funds have traditionally relied upon investments, considering the current state of the economy and equities, it might be a good idea to consider options outside of the stock market. There are still alternative assets out there. Real estate, commodities that have low correlation to traditional markets. Now, traditionally, gold and oil were the leading commodities, but there are assets that also have quietly provided insulation during economic downturns, and not just stores of wealth, assets with growth potential, like contemporary art. According to the Masterworks All Art Index, the last time inflation was near its current levels, art prices appreciated at an annual average of 17.5% per year. You might be wondering, why hasn't everyone flocked to this market? It's simple: accessibility. I mean, who has 10 million to splurge on museum grade work of art, right? So thanks to today's sponsor, Masterworks. Investors all over the world can enter the market for a fraction of the cost. This isn't an NFT, it's not cryptocurrency, it's art from legendary names like Picasso, Banksy and Monet. In 7 out of their 10 exits, Masterworks has delivered net return over 17% to their investors. In fact, their last 3 fetches 17.8%, 21.5% and 33.1%. Nearly 600,000 people have signed up, but my subscribers can get priority access at the link in the description. So check out the link in the description for Masterworks and get the priority access through Wisdom Trends link. Now let's continue with our topic. And finally, it's time to announce the giveaway winner. So thank you in the last couple of months for subscribing to my channel. I hope you continue to watch all of my videos in the future as well, because those are geared towards the immigrant community. I'm also going to make more videos for students and people who are contemplating moving to the United States or Canada, giving them the reality of the situation here. More often than not, what happens is back in India, our parents or teachers or relatives and everybody thinks that going to the US or Canada or Australia is the ultimate thing to do. But they don't know the reality on the ground. All they know is if we can pay the fees for a student to go and study there, they will find their way to settle there. And that's the case. A lot of us find our way to settle here through the hardships that we go through. But now you want to look at the reality of the situation here in the United States at least. I can't talk about Australia, New Zealand or UK, but I can talk about the US, that if you are not in the EB1 category or if you are not sponsored through family sponsorship, your life is going to be very hard here on a non-immigrant visa such as H1 or L1. If you are in the EB2 or EB3 category, which is 90% of the applicants, even in the Fortune 500 or big tech companies, most of these big tech also apply only in EB2 or EB3. Remember that. If you think that you get a good job over here, you get good education, you work for a FANG company and now your life is settled, that's just a part of it. You still need to get your green card, and if you are stuck in your EB2 or EB3 backlog, it's going to take decades, if not more, for you to get their green card. So take that reality into consideration before moving to United States to study and to work. This is just one more nugget of information that you need to think through, which many of us are not aware back in India. I'll make a dedicated video specifically explaining the challenges and hardships that people go through and they are not aware of when they are starting from India. This might become an additional piece of information before you make a decision to move to United States. And the giveaway winner is Vishwanathan 1982. I don't know the exact name of the person, but Vishwanathan is, I presume, is your first name. So if you are Vishwanathan 1982 as your YouTube name, please contact me through email in the next 2 days, because if you don't contact me in the next 2 days, I'll go to the next one in the list. It took a lot of effort for me to get all this information from the last 3 or 4 months. I had to go back and look at the subscribers list. I had to go back and check who is actually publicly subscribed to my channel, and also look at their comments and likes. There are a lot of third-party applications that I had to use to pull this data from YouTube, because YouTube does not make it easy for us as YouTube creators to look into this data. So congratulations Vishwanathan 1982. I look forward to your email. And this time the giveaway is Apple Watch Series 8 in aluminum. So congratulations, and those of you who did not win this, don't be disheartened, because I'll be making more giveaways in the next couple of months. So stay tuned to my channel, like this video, subscribe. So all of this matters, and you'll be put into the draw for the next giveaway. So if you like the content of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.